there's another character who's a philosopher who's based on the character in La Dolce Vita that the Marcello character envies. And I have him follow a very similar arc, although I go far, far deeper than La Dolce Vita does into this character, so that we know some of the reasons this spy has existential angst, because he encounters characters like this Michael Nur character. He encounters characters like Bert Convy. He encounters this philosopher who ends up doing something terrible, and he encounters them, and it reflects on his own life. And there are smaller little segments where he's talking about the various lovers he has, and we see them throughout the book. And we see a few vignettes that are very James Bondian, where he has to kill a real life Soviet mass murderer named Alexander Solonik, who was called Super Killer. He actually existed and was killed by foreign agents in Greece. And in my book, he's killed by my spy character. And it's done in a very nonchalant way, but it's the antithesis of like the Massapequa massacre in the Vincetti brothers. But all of these things make the character. And so I can tell you, by the book opens with the character accidentally running over a cat when he's driving as a near 80-year-old, and the book is going to end in a similar place. I'm not exactly where, but it's got 27 chapters. So I just wrote the first part of chapter 1 today. I'll write the first part of the chapter 27 tomorrow. But I basically finished the 25 chapters in between. But I had to finish those chapters because I didn't know exactly how I was going to get there. So I know the book, how it begins and it ends, and I can tell you how the book begins and it ends because the plot is utterly irrelevant. It's about the character. It's not how it happens, but why it happens, and the way it happens. And this is something that people have to get away from. If people are to evolve, narrative is inherent in our system, in the way our brains are wired. But we have to get away from the A to B to C plot-driven narrative and get to the point where, okay, I can tell you the narrative arcs of all my books, but it's not going to stop your enjoyment from it in the least. And that's the kind of writing, that's the kind of art that needs to be. It has to be deeper. It has to be lusher. It has to be more essential and integral to who we are.